You're going to watch a Year 9 science lesson. They've just finished their SAT, so they're going to start they've started the GCSE module. They're doing the EdExcel module 2, which is genes. Part of the new curriculum means that they've got to look at how science works, and what they're going to look at today is the ethical side of cloning. They've done a little bit of the more physical cloning and the biology behind it, but now we want to bring them and try and get them to think about the ethical side, the moral side, which is something that they're not used to discussing in science.
So what's the plan for the lesson?
The plan is to continue from their previous lesson, was based on cloning and a bit of background knowledge on Dolly the sheep. And what they're going to do is they're going to decide whether certain circumstances should cloning be allowed or should it not be allowed, and then they're going to prepare a debate which will involve them having a discussion for and against at the same table, and then some of them as a plenary will stand up and actually give their debates if they're confident to do that. All I want you to do, guys, as soon as you get one of these, is read the superstar task, this side of the sheet. Okay, there's 5 situations. I want you to read each one. As a starter, just read through the 5 before I explain what we're going to do. Kavita and Lauren. Fantastic. Who has not got one yet? Kerry and Jodie. Mark, you haven't got one. Mark, can you work with Dean? Yeah? Brilliant. Get a big stool and come sit over there. You okay? Yeah, so he's got 3 over there as well, so that's perfect. Just read through the 5 situations for about 2 minutes. And then I'm going to explain what we're going to do today. Come sit over there. Please discuss each one. Each situation, I want you to discuss what you think about each one. Quick discussion about what you think should happen. Should they be allowed to clone or not? Yes, no. Please write notes if you need to. What do you think? This one? Yes, no?
She should just be allowed a new dog.
She should be allowed a new dog, but what about training the dog up?
Do it the same way as they did the old dog.
Yeah, good. So that's what would be. Why would you have a negative aspect against cloning of a guide dog? What would be wrong with it?
Especially children.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well,
Kavita, do you want to? Why would you say no? Or would you say yes? They should be cloned.
yeah, because
So she can't live without it. So it's helping a human. Yeah. Compared to what about pets? Would you clone pets? Normal pets without guide dogs? Yeah. Go on to 2, 3, 4, 5. Just if they're helping humans, so it's like rescue dogs, guide dogs, things like that, yeah? Yeah? Right, go on to situation 2. What do you think? Why? Okay. Okay, try situation 2, and then what, train up another dog?
Yeah.
Okay, what about situation 2?
Cost more money. Train up another dog.
Would it, then cloning? Which would be?
Cloning costs more money.
Which would cost more?
Cloning. Think about it.
At the start, but maybe not. Depends what type of dog. Yeah. Depends on where it's done as well. Yeah. But would a clone be the same? Would it be the same? Would the dog still be the same? Tell me scientifically.
Maybe.
Tell me. Why would you say yes? Maybe.
Same genes.
Same genetic makeup. So that's exactly the same dog. So it will respond to her in exactly the same way. Whereas a new one who's trained up might not work the same way.
She might not like the new one as much.
They might not have the same relationship. Good, because the first one is like a twin, isn't it? Try 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Girls.
Situation 2, it says if you clone the panda, would it still be able to breed, but wouldn't it be the same sex?
It'll be the same sex, good.
Yeah, but they wouldn't
Yeah.
be able to breed.
But then you still have more of them, but they'll still be the same sex, so you won't be able to breed. Good. That's good. That one's quite difficult. Sorry, Dean. What do you think, boys? Yes, no, yes, no, yes. Why?
Because that one is for
medical reasons.
Medical reasons, so you think that's okay? To help humans, maybe? Yeah. Okay.
and that one.
But wouldn't that one help humans?
What, cloning their pets?
No, cloning the dog. because she's blind. So if he's a guide dog, that's going to help him. It's going to help her with her life and make her life easier. Because she's got a guide dog that she's trained up and has now gotten used to her. Yeah? If he dies, she's going to have to train up a new guide dog. So that guide dog helps her. But I don't know, you tell me. There's no right or wrong answer to this. 1 more minute, guys. 1 more minute to do all 5, please. What do we think?
We don't know about this one. Yeah, because they're going to be the same sex. Then we're like, well, you're going to have to just keep cloning. Yeah, but it's better. I say no, and she says yeah.
Okay, that's fine. There's no right or wrong answer to these. It's just what you think.
We don't get that part, so don't look whatever.
Scientists believe that stem cells found in human embryos, so that's the egg and sperm together, yeah, could be used to cure a range of diseases. Should scientists be allowed? So that's experimenting. So it's not necessarily making new humans, but you're experimenting on the embryos. So that means you've got an egg and a sperm, join them together, you clone them up. They could become humans, but you're going to test them before they could become humans. It's basically like testing babies in the womb, but clones.
So you clone the egg and the sperm?
Yeah. No, you clone them once they've joined together, which is the embryo.
Yeah,
you clone the embryo and then test it.
Baby.
Before it becomes a baby, you test it for different diseases, or cures and testings on it.
How would that be bad?
Well, potentially they could grow to be babies, but they may not if you test them. You could kill off those embryos as well. Well, you could think of it that way. That's how some people think about it, and some religions think about it that way. Okay, can we stop, please? Thank you. All right. On that sheet, you had 5 different situations. 5 different situations. Now, there is no right or wrong answer to this, but I want to volunteer to tell me how you would rank them. When I walked around, some people said, yes, clone this, no, don't clone this. But this is the hard bit. I want you, with the 5 situations, the guide dog, the panda, the human embryos, the bull, and the farming for developing countries, to put them, which one would you allow cloning the most, prioritise, and which one the least? Who thinks they're ready to do that? Yeah, Jordan, do you want to come up and do it? No right or wrong answer, so don't worry. Jonathan? Come on. Okay. So, 3, 2, 1. Jonathan? Jonathan's going to come to the board and he's going to put them in his order, his and Jordan's order. You don't necessarily have to agree with this, but what I want is hands up to explain, yes, you do agree and why, or no, you don't agree and why not. Okay, it's about discussion. There is no right or wrong answer. Okay, and if you move the bull just up so people can see it where it is. Fantastic. Okay, so stay there, Jonathan. Stay there a second. What do we think? Yes or no? Hands up. Hands up, hands up, hands up. Okay. Why? Oh no, hang on. Thank you. Right, let Kiara speak.
Because you see the situation 5 about the developing countries. I think they should be second because the blind person's dog, everyone needs the dog in their life, and blind people always say that they want it to be treated equally. So why should they have cloned their dogs and everyone else can't?
Yes. Good point. I like that point. Why should people who don't want special treatment get preference over such an ethical issue like cloning? So Kiara is saying to swap. Jonathan, can you swap those 2 for me, just to see if other people agree? The guide dog not necessarily needs to be cloned as much as developing countries need new food and lots of new crops. Do people agree with this? Again, I'm not saying right or wrong. There is no right or wrong answer, so just tell me if you agree or disagree. William?
I don't agree, because I think that the giant panda, if there's one left, then it's going to go extinct. It's like an amazing animal and it would come before like another person's dog.
Okay, Jonathan, move it. Where are we going to move it to? I like that argument. There?
No, swap the dog with
No,
the
So
dog.
you put a third.
yeah,
Dog there.
the panda third and the farmer.
And farm in second.
Farming second.
What's it?
Okay. Okay, let's just take William's point about this panda. It's a beautiful creature. Last giant panda on this planet. If you clone it, you're going to get new ones. Kerry, what do you think?
With the panda one, if you cloned it, it would be the same sex, so you wouldn't be able to breed it.
You can change it.
Okay, hang on a second. William, what do you think about that? What's your argument against that? If you clone something, it's genetically identical. So that means if it was a male panda, you're going to clone it, it'll still become a male panda. So, what are you going to do? Just clone lots of male pandas, but they still won't be able to breed?
You can change the thing to make it a female.
How?
I can't remember, but you can do it somewhere.
Genetic engineering could change it to make a female. That, we haven't been able to do that in science yet, but theoretically, yes. So theoretically, that could happen, okay, but not necessarily right now. Dean, one more.
I don't think the top one should be first, because what they're doing, they're creating human beings to test on, which is not very fair.
Okay, so Dean says cloning human embryos is not fair because it's just for medical research, really, isn't it? But what's that medical research looking into? What's it researching? Who can tell me? Who read it? Alex, what did it research? If things can cure diseases. So is that helping humans? Dean? Yeah? I understand what you mean. It's not necessarily helping them straight away. It's a bit more like research. You're creating humans to research. Okay, I'm not saying... Alright, Alex, last point.
I agree with that being first because like, it might be like cloning humans at the beginning, but it might save hundreds of people's lives.
Good. Yeah, good. Just because you're cloning humans to begin with, you could be saving lots of lives. Now, none of these are right, none of these are wrong. This order may not be correct. And what the objective of today's lesson is to describe the social and ethical concerns of cloning. Okay? When we talk about cloning, now that you're starting year 10 work, you need to think about the debates that scientists have. You can understand how cloning takes place, that it's genetically identical, the benefits of it, some of the drawbacks. But now, as you start at Key Stage 4, you need to think about whether or not you should do this and be able to debate and argue for and against things. This will be examined in your GCSE, okay? Your arguments for and against scientific research, okay? So, what I want to do with you today is, I'll move this. We're going to come up with a debate. Now, we've discussed this a little bit before, and the debates for and against. But what you're going to do for me today is you're going to write out your debate, and hopefully some people will be able to have the debates ready and be able to argue today for or against cloning. Now, 3 things you need to put in your debate. 1, outline the purpose of your speech or your debate. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today to argue for cloning. So start with your objective. What is it that you intend to do? Second thing, use logical reasoning. Logical reasoning. I've put it in brackets, scientific evidence. Does everyone understand that? What that means? Is anyone stuck? So you use scientific evidence to help you debate. Emotional appeal. Show feelings. If you're going to debate for something or against it, you want people to believe you. So you have to show your emotions. Okay, show feelings. Use true stories if you need to. Okay? Be passionate about what you're arguing. And the third thing is credibility. If someone says that you're a credible source, it means that you've got data to back up what you're saying. You're using case studies or examples. Okay? For today's lesson, I'll allow you to make up data. So you can talk about statistics that you've made up. Okay? Just for the purpose of a debate. Third thing is you have to thank your audience for their time, okay? Just to remain polite to them. Now, we decided yesterday who was going to be for and against. Anyone who is in favour for cloning, put your hands up. Those groups, and then you can start working on these sheets, okay? Keep 2 as notes and then 1 for your real one, okay? 1, 2, 3, 2 as notes, scribble, and then the other one is your real final version. Thanks, Jonathan. And over here, fantastic. Sorry, girls. Okay? You're welcome. And against, can we put our hands up? You've got one, brilliant. Do you want one for notes as well, just in case? Brilliant. Girls? Brilliant. I'll get you, but there's only 2 of you in that group. Because Jordan and Jonathan are against cloning, yeah? So you do one as notes and one as your real version, okay? 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. Here are some for and against. So you could say 75% of all embryos cloned end up not being used. Do you know, if you want to use that as an argument, I'll allow you just today. Okay? There's some arguments for you. There's a few for you to start, okay? For and against. Okay, there's a few for you already, and you can also see what the other group are going to look at. There's your for and against, okay? Push down, William, there. Right, you 4.
Yep.
I'm expecting amazing things from you, okay?
Okay.
You are the highest in this class, and you should have lots of these, plus your own ideas in here. You also need to look at this and say, these are your reasons against, and these are your reasons for. So you need to see what the other group are going to be arguing as well.
So can you get up and like, have a look at them? Have a look at their notes?
No, this is the notes I'm giving them. So you see the arguments I'm giving them as well, so you've got kind of an insider's point of view. Yes? Does that make sense? What do you think? Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to discuss why we are in favour of cloning. The reasons we are in favour of cloning are...
What reasons yet?
There's some to start you off, but I want you to add some more things to it, okay? Remember, look at what's on the board. Kavita. Yeah.
Would they be cloned dead or would their cells?
Their cells could be revived, but it might be difficult. If their cells are dead already, it might be very difficult.
Dead.
Yeah. Bring them back from life, yeah, that's quite tricky.
But if they're going to be exactly the same and they're already dead, would that?
Their lives, it depends how they died. And if it's an age, if their cells have aged and that's the reason why they've died, or cancer or some disease like that, then yes, they'll be dead as well. But if it was an accident, then not necessarily. But this is the whole debate about cloning. Is it religious? Is it moral? Is it science? So is it down to religion saying this is when you're going to die and nothing can stop you from that happening? You know, fate and destiny? Yeah. Dead. More than likely, it depends how they've died. Yeah, because the cells will be dead. Yeah, so they would be. So if you did it to someone who was sick, then maybe you could treat that illness and bring them back. You know, terminally ill patients. It's not very nice to think. No, it's not very nice to think about. Kind of, yeah. Which is some people would believe in. But do we have the right to play God? Do we have the right to do that? Do we have the right to decide, oh, I want to stay living forever? Do you know? And then is it down to who can afford to do it? Because things cost money. So will it come down to who can afford to do it? Do you know, so rich people will live forever and poor people will just die when naturally they should, you know, their kind of lifespan runs out. Be 70, would they? Yeah. Yeah, so is that right? Is it right to do that to someone, to keep them alive for another few years and put them through that? Or put their family through that? But how do you know what's going to happen, fate? How do you know if you brought them back to life they wouldn't, you know, terrible, but get hit by a bus? Yeah. Dead, then their cells are dead. Yeah, so you can't, no. But if theoretically you could take the genetics and then do it, you could. Theoretically, but it's not. That's the big debate, and it's very, that's something that, yeah, it's not. A bit like a horror movie or something, isn't it? But, back to this, against. So here's 4 against. Now use these if you want, or use something different. But you can say, one of the big arguments against cloning is us playing God, and us playing Mother Nature. And do we have the right to do that, because do we know what will happen? You know what I mean? We don't know what the outcome's going to be. Okay? Boys, how are we doing?
Thought he died of lung cancer, lung disease. What did you just put?
Well, we don't know. It's when they did the autopsy, it was like the lung disease, but they also she died at an early age because the mother cell. Remember what we looked at yesterday? She died when she was 6, but she was taken from someone who was 6, so that was kind of half her lifespan gone already. So did her mother, or did the cell that she came from, did that person die? Did that sheep die of lung disease as well? I don't know the answer. That's something that you could research. Yeah. Yeah, but same. She was terminally ill.
Yeah, but Miss, even though she was 6 then, when she died, she might have been 12 now.
Yeah, because she was 6 to begin with. Yeah, that's what I mean. So which is the norm between 10 to 16. So what they were saying over there is if you clone someone as an adult, they wouldn't probably last very long because they wouldn't start from birth again. It's tricky, isn't it? Think about it. It's a very tricky subject, and loads of scientists, adult scientists, can't make their minds up about cloning. Because it brings in morals, ethics, fate, destiny, so many things come into it, it's actually really tricky to debate. And this is a really good skill for you if you can do this and argue for and against it. How are we doing? There are many opinions of cloning. Living beings, firstly. If an animal is on the brink of extinction and cannot reproduce, then their species should be allowed to be cloned. Endangered animals should be cloned until they're able to... Yeah, that's good. A lot of people say yes, that's true. Good. Plants, the same. You can clone plants very easily. Humans, not necessarily, are you saying? Are you saying the higher we are in the food chain, the less we're allowed to be cloned?
They have less, like we populate the world with billions of people.
Yeah.
But they have like 50 the whole entire world.
Okay, endangered species. What about plants? What about blades of grass? How many blades of grass are there in the world? Zillions. But you could clone those. There's no point, but you could, and no one would bat an eyelid if you did. No one would care, would they? It's a waste of resource, a waste of money. Science money. Good, yeah? Keep going though, think about it. You could, yeah, these anything on the sheet you can use to help back up your evidence. Yeah? Kavita.
See when we were saying about if you clone, there's a chance that it will be dead.
Yeah.
How would you write that? This by the way, we're not really.
No, you don't have to. Was it water?
It's not. It's juice.
Is it in that bottle? Yeah. What was I going to say? How would you write it? I don't know. If you say something like you try to clone a human, the genetics of a human, you take a sample from the genes of a human who's passed away, then the chances of the person of being... It's difficult, isn't it? Think about it. That's a funny argument. Look at some of these are easier arguments sometimes as well, okay? And then it might come to you how to phrase it.
Can you put cells from a dead person into this?
You could, but they wouldn't reproduce, they wouldn't do anything because they're dead. So you can't really use them, and the gene's the same. So really, you can't really reproduce. No. No.
Well, can we argue that we are here to explain the reasons why we think cloning should be against the law?
Yes, you could, yeah, of course you can. Say whatever you want like that, that's fine. All right? Yeah. Fantastic, good. How are we doing? Oh my God, that's brilliant. First reason I'm against cloning is that we are against cloning. Is that it can be used as a money-making scheme. Fantastic. For example, I once knew a farmer who had, yes, I like that. That's brilliant. That's using that example, that he wanted to clone just for money. I think that he isn't doing this for good of the animal. Yes, good. So you think about the animal rights as well, for a scientific reason. He just wanted money. This is dangerous for the animal as it requires DNA to be taken from the animal, and this can lead to disease. How?
Well, he said that it says waste. Life is being wasted. So
because if you take the DNA from an animal, maybe they just kill the animal afterwards. Maybe they take a lot of the DNA. How would it lead to disease for that animal? That's the thing.
Like operations can be.
So they could get some septic wounds or something, is that what you're saying? Or if you do blood transfusion, maybe there's something in that? Okay, just explain that in a bit more detail, okay? Because you should be doing extension work, and that if you explain that in a bit more detail, that would be perfect. And death, I agree with that, because sometimes they will kill the animal after they've taken samples as well.
Can I say how too much DNA is taken?
If too much blood is taken, maybe that'll make them ill, and they'll affect their immune system, because their white blood cells won't be there. Yeah? Be with you 1 second, Kiara.
Miss, can you read this, right? And it's right, cloning humans could also be a benefit as it could bring back people who have passed away, right?
Yeah.
That could be a benefit.
It's not a benefit.
Why? How? But what if it's someone young and they died suddenly?
But
what if someone who knew the answers to questions? What if it was?
It's waste though, because they're still gonna have to use. They're not gonna be able to do it first try. So it's gonna be waste.
Why? Why not? What if they've experimented on animals? Why wouldn't they be able to do it first try?
Because no one else is.
Okay. Yeah, good, yeah, I agree with you. But what if a scientist, for example, who had the answer to the cure for diseases had died suddenly, and they needed to speak to that scientist to get her opinion or his opinion and their results? So is it worth bringing them back from the dead?
I suppose, but...
How would you do it? Can you bring someone back if they're... Can you take genes?
You clone the genes from their parents.
From their parents, but not necessarily. If you clone their parents, you're going to get a replica of the parents. How would you get a replica of that person again?
Dead body.
But
Their bones.
Blood.
can you use that genes? Would you be able to use those genes?
Probably not.
Think about that one. Think about it. It's a good point. I like your point, but just think about it. Kiara.
Let's watch this goes.
Cloning is not only a scientific achievement, but it also is a necessity to increase the population of endangered animals and plants. Good, I like that, that's good.
But we were trying to say, like, it's not just a personal need.
It's an environment, write that down, it's not just a personal need, it's an environmental need. Ryan, do you agree with that? Yeah? Good?
And then personal need, but an environmental.
Should we put that instead of that?
An environmental, put it as well, it just fits in at the end of that, I think, quite nicely. It's not just a personal need, but an environmental one. Good? Good? Guys, I'm going to give you 3, 2, 1. I'm going to give each group about 3 more minutes, okay, to finish this up. Doesn't have to be the side of this sheet, okay? And if it's longer, it can go onto the back, that's fine. It doesn't matter, it's not quantity, it's quality. But about 3 more minutes, and then Alex, I want you to decide who's going to speak in groups. 3, 4 minutes. Off you go. Anyone need any help? Ben, you right?
I said we should write on the sheet how she'll search our best friends.
Yeah, so what are you doing there? You're bringing in the emotional appeal. But you do, emotional appeal is very important. When you debate something, you've got to be passionate about it. Logical reasoning, emotional appeal and credibility.
I'm not bowling.
We don't have to bowl, but you can, maybe not to that stage, but you could talk about how upsetting that made some people. Look, you can bring in the emotional appeal if you want to.
Somebody could roll them with like and go, oh no, not really, because she ate all my grass.
Yeah, but they're not going to argue against it. Well, who will? What sheep is going to argue against it?
My nan had a heart attack over it.
Don't know.
Emotional family.
Good. And that's bringing in case studies as well, which is credibility. So that's meeting 2 of those criteria. Maybe. Jodie, all right, Kerry?
You think you're stressing out?
Said the characteristics of an old sheep.
Brilliant. Ryan, yeah? You okay? Yeah? Ryan, I want you to bring your stool here, because you can't read that over Alex's shoulder. Yeah, just bring your stool here so you can read what they're writing as well. I know you're discussing it, but I want you to be able to read that as well. That's brilliant. Fantastic. Good. Good boy. Who else? Addington, how are you doing?
We're doing our knee.
Good. Have you got all your points? Yeah. Have you used logical reasoning?
Yeah.
Emotional appeal?
Show feelings.
Show your feelings, a bit of passion, and credibility.
Miss, when we do show feelings, we say like one of our family members has died.
You can use, yeah, that's what I mean. This is only, this is a theoretical situation, so you could talk about someone in your family if you want to. Are you for cloning? Against? For cloning. So you could talk about people in your family who've died of disease? Don't get too gruesome about it, but you could, yeah. No problem. And that's bringing in case studies, and that's using humans as examples. Yeah, brilliant. You're right, Jordan?
Yep.
You're doing the same, writing it up neat?
Yeah.
Fantastic. As Jonathan's writing it, you read what he's writing, because you might actually, something might come to you. You know, you might get a bit more. Okay? Let me just get past you. David, you all right? Yep. Brilliant. So you're writing yours out neat as well? Or just kind of getting to the end of it, yeah? As people are writing it down, make sure that you're reading what they're writing, Mark, because you might be able to add more to it. Okay? Who's going to speak in this group? Yeah? Good boy. Well done, David. Who's speaking in this group, girls?
Both of us.
Brilliant. And you've got your own sections? Brilliant.
I'm missing.
No, it's all right, because look, no one's going to read it. They're only going to listen to it. As long as you can read it, that's fine.
Can we do it there?
You're going to do it up here in front.
This is also, no.
Last minute, last minute, last minute, last minute, last minute.
Speaking, by the way.
Okay, if William knows he's speaking, that's fine, and you've agreed it. They've nominated for you.
I've written it, I'm not reading it. Nah, Luke can read it.
Okay, it's up to you three, you decide. Okay. Or you can do a section each if you want to. The girls are doing that over there.
Do you want to say something, miss? Try to the girls. Try to the girls.
No, I'm saying the girls are doing it as well, and that's a good idea when you've got a big group that you can all do a little section each. You won't. Write down who's doing which section. "20 seconds. Nope. It's not how it works.
I'll say we're doing parts.
Yeah, do parts. One sentence each if you want. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, excuse me, 1. Okay, everyone up here, please. Everyone looking up here. Fantastic. Okay, now, last part of this lesson. I want some volunteers for and against. Now, we'll see as many of these that we can get done, we'll do. I'd like to start with someone who is for cloning. Now, in your groups, you can decide whether you're speaking completely on your own or whether you're talking as a group. Who's going to be the first volunteer for cloning? For cloning? David? No? Addington? Can you come up and read what you've done? Brilliant, well done. Now, I want everyone else in this class... Shh. Excuse me, Alex. I want everyone else, if you come over here to me, to give Elliot your undivided attention. And if you want to ask questions at the end of his speech, then you can, okay? But please don't interrupt him while he's speaking. You ready? Yep. Fantastic. Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to discuss why we are in favour of cloning. Cloning is a new scientific discovery that potentially solve a number of life-threatening problems. Cloning stem cells and injecting them into an infected person can cure them of all their diseases, but the only problem is there can be some minor side effects. 92% of the farmyard animals have arthritis were completely cured, and now they have their normal lifespan. Animal cloning is also a brilliant idea, as we cloned Jerry, the helper dog, and now Joseph has
been cloned.
Joseph has been cloned.
Fantastic. Well done. That's brilliant. Well done. Okay. Anyone got any questions for Elliot? Fantastic. Well done, Elliot. Okay, someone who is against cloning. First volunteer, please. Jodie? Fantastic, up you come. Jodie and Kerry, brilliant.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to explain the reasons why we think cloning should be against the law.
Firstly, cloning is against many religions and beliefs, because if cloning is used on human embryos, it is seen as killing lives and as murder.
For example, the story of Dolly the sheep was cloned in 1996. Dolly sadly died at the age of 6 as she had the characteristics of a sheep.
Okay, stop, take a breath, take a breath.
Can we not go?
Just keep going. Just take a breath and keep going. Brilliant, you're doing really well there.
This is going to come a bit difficult.
Jodie, do you want to continue?
Yeah. After a recent survey, we asked 100 people if they agreed in cloning. 87% agreed that it was a good idea.
87% agreed
that cloning was a good idea. 23% disagreed. It is not seen as God's way of life and is seen as playing with an end trap. Lastly, when an animal is cloned, when ill, they can pass the disease on and then the disease can be passed on to theirs.
Fantastic. Thank you, girls. Well done. Okay. Jodie and Kerry's obviously had a bit of humour in it, but what they were trying to do was this emotional appeal, and if you'd read what they'd written, they had put a lot of words in block capitals, and I think that's what made them go a bit giggly, because they had to try and read these words with expression, but they did try the emotional appeal, which is good. They also put in some of their own statistics, which makes it credible, the use of data. Anyone else want to have a go? For or against? Fantastic, up we come. Well done, girls. That was good, though. Well done. You ready? You ready? Yeah. Hang on. Okay, everyone looking, please. Shh. We'll just wait till everyone's listening. Addington, thank you. Off you go, boss.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here today to discuss why we are in favour of cloning. We personally agree with the cloning process for many reasons, and it is a fact that 68% of the general public agree with us. So we're here to persuade the other 32% to agree with us.
Cloning is not only a scientific achievement, but it's also a necessity to increase the population of endangered animals and plants. It's not just a personal need, but it's also an environmental need. Furthermore, testing on embryo clones could be vital to finding cures for serious or deadly diseases such as HIV and cancer. However, we do not agree with people cloning things for their own personal or financial benefits.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to us.
Thank you, well done. Okay, a point that Alex and Kiara made there, and Ryan has written as well, well done for being part of that group, was that even though they can see the benefits of it from a medical side, that you don't want to see cloning happening for personal gain. That means non-profit. Yeah? So you don't want big companies coming and making money from this. Fantastic. Has anyone got any other questions on this? Anyone else dying to argue their point? No? Kiara?
Hang on. You know when they're being cloned, where do they keep them?
Depends what they're cloning. Often in labs, in test tubes, in Petri dishes, you know the little dishes where the egg are. Depends. It depends on what it is. Completely depends on what it is and what size it is. Okay? But it's a non-natural, so it's an artificial way, so often it's in vitro, which means in the lab. Okay? Any other questions? Fantastic. Guys, you've been brilliant today. What I want you to do is put your sheets and different colours on your desks, put them in a pile. Next lesson, we're going to continue with this debate, and I'm going to give you a few more pieces of evidence to go with that. When you've got your piles on top, can you please go line up by the door for me, please? Thank you. Brilliant. You know where you're going to go now? Yep. One, Dean, you ready? Brilliant, guys. Well done. Thank you very much. Bye, guys. Thank you. Bye. Bye, guys. It was their first lesson ever having a kind of scientific debate and scientific discussion at that level, which is quite difficult. Most of them took to it quite well. There was a few who were a bit just not ready for that yet, I think. But it's, I mean, again, they've just started their GCSE course and they're still in year 9. So for them as a mixed ability group, it was quite good for them. I thought that they got into it. They could have discussed it a bit more, and if they had more time, they would have gotten into more of an argument and more of a debate between the two groups for and against. Because it wasn't actually their beliefs, I think they didn't choose for and against. Maybe they weren't as passionate as they would be. Also, they didn't ask that many questions, but I think if we continued with that for the next lesson, they would come up with more questions to do with it as well.
So it was a first sort of outing for them, you felt it was sort of...
I think they took to it very well. They were very mature for year 9s to discuss something. A lot of them got into quite heated discussions about genetics and whether the genes still work when someone's dead or alive. Things that I thought was quite extended for them. Now, the way the group is arranged, they sit in ability. So the ones nearer the back are more able, and you could see from the work that they did that they got into more detail, whereas some of the ones at the front, especially the ones on the table in the middle, are a bit weaker. So their discussion wasn't as scientific, and they got into... They looked at it from a completely different point of view, which was interesting as well, yeah.
So as a guidance for you, it sort of offered a lot of potential for where you're going to go with it.
Exactly, and I think because the new GCSE curriculum has so much of this arguments, the way it's assessed is they have to look at for and against different arguments, and this is the second year of the course, so I've learned from teaching it for a year now that we do need to do more debate work, more discussion, more what if, what do you think, rather than just teach facts and knowledge. It is a lot more understanding at every level, because that's how it's assessed now, and it is a huge part of their course. So I think that from the original teaching this last year, I've learned that we do need to get them more involved in group discussion work. And also, from what I've done now, I can see how I can take that forward into teaching another group next year at the same topic.